there's salsa if you want it more hot.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our day. Would this be day one of Mobile Beat Las Vegas? It probably would be. I mean, we kind of did our pre-show last night, but this is like the first day of activities here at Mobile Beat. So for those of you out there who are joining us, thank you for watching. For those of you who are in the room here, thank you for coming up, because we've got the show. We're going to talk about a little bit about day one, and we're going to have some folks jump in here with us, and then we're going to be eating tamales. Now, I wonder if I've got this set up. If I can switch here, Scott, I'm going to you, Scott. Wave.
Hey.
Right there. So we have got. Mario's got the tamales over there. You guys can see way over there. Mario, you can wave to us there. There, he's got the tamales over there, because this is our tamale party, and it's going to be, people are going to be coming in about 8 o'clock, and we wanted to share a little bit. I'm going to go back to my camera, guys. Thank you much. But we wanted to share a little bit about day one here at Mobile Beat Las Vegas. For a lot of you who wanted to be here, couldn't be here this year, this is I almost want to say the last 2 years have almost been like a new generation of Mobile Beat show compared to the shows in which we've had in the past. And I mean that in a really, really good way, because the shows that we had in the past were, good events, but really the production value, the lighting, the sound, the things that were going on stage have just really been kind of taking it up a notch or 3 or 4, and you haven't seen that before. So that's been kind of a good thing, and I'm kind of by myself right now because people are moving back and forth. So that's why the chat room is Scott, you want to come over? You can come and sit next to me. But while you're eating tamales and such.
Hey, people.
There we go. We're gonna turn that up so we'll both be on here. So I need you to slide over just a little bit so you are off, and I'll move over out of the center of the shot.
How's my hair, John?
You look beautiful. You look beautiful. I mean, maybe not quite as. The very first time, of course, when we met, and you had your long ponytail and such.
Yeah, just cut it off a month ago.
Yeah, it's been there for a long, long time.
20 years.
Goodness gracious. 20 years. That's longer than most marriages. I'm going to move this camera just a little bit to give.
All right.
There, so that way we're back. So today was day one, and if you want to go ahead, have a bite, because I'm just going to talk, and then I'll grab you, pull you in and on some. Right. But it was day one today, and we got tamales, and they're authentic stuff here, gang. It's good. If you are somewhere and you haven't checked this out, come on up and see us. But I was talking about this show, and Scott, you were there years ago because you took a time off, and it's almost like a new generation because the production value wasn't there. I mean, it was okay sound, but the combination of video and audio and the introductions and all the different productions really just become a new beast that we haven't seen in the past.
Oh, amazing! I mean, I was here a dozen years ago, whatever it was, and. It was basically your typical seminar, a bunch of chairs in a row, a couple guys up on stage, they go through their agenda, and then on to the next one. This one, you're introduced with a half-hour sound, video, light production. I mean, there's lights going up and down the aisles, and off the back wall. I mean, and you're just impressed with first of all, the production quality. Yeah. Second of all, the equipment that they're using to produce it. When you're talking EV, when you're talking
Chauvet
lighting,
and trussing all over the room. It was just really a cool look.
Yes, I mean, amazing. And then today, the most surprising thing I thought, in the intro, they actually had real Vegas performers.
Yes, that was a cool twist. I did not. I watched because I can get in with my past. I could get in early, and I was watching them do the introduction of the MCs when they brought them on a stage. Which you had Bill Herman, Johnny Roz, Jimmy Johnson, and Mike Bonacorso. They're going to be the MCs for the week. So Bill Herman was today. They brought them up on a stage, and I watched the practice time. Which the young ladies, when they weren't wearing their big outfits, they were just dressed in like jeans and sweatpants. So
I never noticed them then, but man, some of those chicks had six packs, man.
Oh my goodness! So they come in and they do the practice, and they'll walk through as you would like a wedding walkthrough, and the girls are just dressed down. So I mean, let's face it, at that moment in time, Bill Herman, he was the eye candy of that little procession. which isn't saying a lot. Emmy was saying Bill is always the eye candy.
Yeah.
But once they switched over and the girls went and changed and such, 20 minutes later they came back in their showgirl. Oh my goodness gracious!
Juan.
Yeah, you missed things. You missed
Juan and Bill Lage.
Yeah, the guys, you're just not seeing it. So yeah, it was a cool thing. But as you're mentioning, the performers, so they're kind of going through kind of a history of Vegas-y kind of feel. They start talking about the early days and the mafia money, what have you. Then all of a sudden they have Frank Sinatra up on a screen. Then the spotlights from the room shine on his backstage because there's the main stage, and then there was a secondary backstage. And here's a guy up there, basically looks like Sinatra, and he's lip syncing, I'm guessing, because of the video. But he's up there and he's almost mimicking the same things that Sinatra was doing in the video. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool.
So then that wraps up. And then who else would you think of as a Vegas performer? Well, beyond Wayne Newton and everyone else.
Elvis.
It's Elvis,
Elvis was there.
And there's all of a sudden Elvis is up there doing it on the video screens, and then the spotlights hit the stage, and there's an Elvis impersonator up on a stage. So it was really kind of a cool.
Yeah, it was like, wow, they really went. It was an extra step even beyond last year.
Yeah.
Last year I was blown away. This year was just, they just put frosting on the cake.
Very much so. Very much. And you mentioned the lighting, kind of the runway lights. They had Shelby DJ had some of their little LED tubes that were along the sides there, and they had them set up so they could do different patterns and what have you. And it was just kind of a really. It was really a 3D show today. I mean,
Yes, it was.
You were in that introduction because we had our video screens, we had the first stage, we had the second stage, we had the lights going back and forth around the room, and it was quite.
And actually, the demonstration. I mean, I immediately thought, okay, how could I integrate this into a wedding? I mean, when you think about the 3D lighting, it's like, wow, this is kind of a cool thing, especially when you're doing something like a grand march, or grand introduction of the wedding party, and having some. I mean, you have to spend a lot of money in lighting effects to get it done, but if you're doing some high-end weddings, definitely worth the investment.
Oh yeah, definitely cool. And that idea with the singers and such, I was thinking as I was watching that, again, wedding, because that's what I do. And I was thinking, there's at times when one of the bridesmaids wants to do a specific song. And how cool would that be is during that dinner time, and everyone's kind of doing it, it's low key, and one of the bridesmaids just kind of steps away, and all of a sudden the spotlights hit her and the song comes on, and there she is over there singing across the room on her own little mini stage. And I thought, wow, that'd be kind of cool. Because then you have, and then just out of nowhere, it's like, oh my gosh, and you've got the lights hitting her, and the rest of the room is a little bit. It's like, wow, that's kind of a cool.
Yeah, some ideas. I mean, even before the speakers began, there was some neat ideas that the production crew of the event today put into some ideas into some of us DJs. So,
yeah.
What are they saying?
No, they could hear. They heard the Poison in the background.
Oh yeah. Well, now it's Little River Band, so chill.
Yeah, exactly. Little River Band. I think we talked about both of those songs on our. Hey, here's a Tuesday night plug for our Tuesday night show, our music show. I think Brian Red and I talked about both of those. And of course, now I'm going to spill the beans because most of you don't know. But tomorrow night we'll have a special guest up here. We'll have Brian Red here at Las Vegas. We can say that now because he's somewhere between Milwaukee and here. So it was something we had to keep on the down low, and Brian and I talked about this, that we're going to have him. And if I would stay up late enough tonight, we could do something tonight. But hey, this boy ain't staying up that late. We started early today. We're going to be going early again tomorrow morning. So
he's flying, I hope.
He is flying. Yes, he was just at the Canadian DJ show, wasn't it? Yeah. So he went from there, and he's been speaking Canadian over the weekend. So he's probably going to.
Might be hard to understand him.
Yeah, we're going to have to kind of bring him down from the Canadian speak and get him back to the speaking American. Yeah, he'd be saying A an awful lot. Yeah. He probably, knowing Brian, he'd be putting something ahead of the A, but that's another story, another time. Okay, so that was the intro. Now we were talking a little bit about the seminars for today, and you sat through pretty much all of them today. I think
all of them took a lot of notes.
Yeah, and you were saying that today was kind of like a multi-system day. Is really what you're kind of taking that.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, uncomfortable pause.
Yeah, exactly. Let me put you on the spot again.
Well, it was good. I mean, if you want to go from a single op to a multi-op, there was a lot of meat there today in order to do that. You know, it almost seemed too good to be true. Like I told you earlier, I mean, these guys, their stories seemed too good to be true. But the fact is that they're living it. They're actually doing it. And this is not a pie in the sky dream that that 90% of the DJs out there don't think they can achieve.
Right.
Because it's a real thing.
Oh,
now,
yeah.
Now, granted, I mean, I don't know, in the Twin Cities, I don't know how many multi-op companies we have. We probably have a dozen.
Larger, if that. Mostly, if you think of companies that are 5 systems and less, there's many. But really, you get like 10 systems and above, there might be only about a dozen.
And really, some of these guys talking today, they are talking like 25 to 35 systems.
Right.
You know, and they're not DJing anymore. Which to me, I felt kind of when one of them said that they weren't even DJing anymore, is that he's just, you know, he was running his business and he had someone else helping to run his business.
Yes.
And he didn't DJ. It's like, oh, man, if your sole goal is just to build a company, that's a cool thing. But you know, if you love DJing, you want to do it once in a while. You know, so I don't know. You have to balance out. Like you were mentioning the other night when in the same room. That was last night.
Last night, yeah.
So much has happened between.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like a week ago. So much has happened. You know, there's just so much to take in.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, it was. I think the first session and the second session were definitely multi. You had Matt Radicelli, I believe it was, who was my first one. Is that who that was? Yeah. And then you had Joe Bunn with the second. And I was listening to Matt. Now, Matt really came at it from the business standpoint. He really had a passion for developing systems, I think was probably the best way to describe it.
Right.
Systems for managing his staff. He was the one that had people running, you know, he basically had a team under him, and that team ran the businesses. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of interesting. I think if you look at the room, and there was probably at that time 800 and change in the room. There were a lot of people in there. But really, for the people who could use that information, there might have only been maybe less than 100 people. Because there was some pretty high-end management lessons. That same presentation could have gone to a convention for managers.
Right.
They would have paid huge money to hear what he was saying, because what he was saying was factual and proven track record type stuff. But oh my goodness gracious!
Lots of detail for a short amount of time. You know, and I took as many notes as I thought. I mean, I was taking all the notes. I thought, you know what, I'm going to need a while before I go on to step 3 or 4. Right. I need to get level 1 here. But there was a lot of stuff to take away from today. And then one event that I was looking very much forward to was the Australian speaker,
John Beck.
John Beck, yes.
Yeah.
He had a lot of good material. I just wish he could have had a little bit more time, because he had a lot of good stuff there.
Yeah, he was doing his was answer, handle, and prevention objections.
Yeah, handling objections from customers, you know, from a bride.
Yeah,
you know.
Okay.
And you know, he gave some good one-liners, you know, but there's so much more to coming up with a one-liner to deal with an objection, and he emphasized that too. I mean, there's a whole mindset, having to, you know, understanding the mindset of a bride. He got into a little bit, and then selling yourself is what, you know, again, one thing that they've always done here at Mobile Beat, and with Steve Walter and all the other teachers, what sets you apart. And it's not just because you can say you're better. You know, you've got to find a niche thing, you know, and that's what as we've been talking earlier, that's what I am
working on, as you're getting back into the industry.
Right.
Because of being out for a while now, really you're starting over as a 20-year-old DJ, really.
In a lot of respects. And I don't have to buy a lot of the equipment. I still have it.
It's just that a lot of the technology that you and I remember from 20 years or 15 years ago is gone. So, so that the seminars, I think overall it was maybe slanted more towards the multi. There was a nice mix with, you know, Joe Bunn would have been multi, Matt was multi. You had Rob Peters was today, John was today, and then they had an EV presentation to kind of wrap up the day. So some good information there today. We've got 3 more days, and you know, not to put down Tuesday and Wednesday, but I have an exhibit hall, so I'm not looking forward to that because I've got to be there and not to the seminars. But Thursday's my day that I'm going to be in that hall.
What are you doing?
Day. I'm not going to actually be speaking. It was kind of cool on that, and now I've got to toot my own horn. In that the little kind of pre-show thing I did when they were going through the history of Mobile Beat. They had my one and only seminar that I have done.
I saw that.
Was up on the screen.
Yep.
And it's like, goodness gracious, that's an old video.
Well, there's something else that happened last year that maybe some of you don't know. Is John was in the first inductee into the Mobile Beat Hall of Fame.
I was the youngest. I'm the youngest one there. There's
there's others.
There's others in
I
there.
thought
Yeah.
they called it something else though.
No, that was. No, it's the Mobile Beat Hall of Fame. I was last year's.
Well, last year, so
Last
John,
year, the person from last year. So that was kind of a cool thing. And I was thinking, maybe that would have made it, but it's like, oh my gosh, that's what I was up on the stage and spoke. So
Yeah.
that was kind of cool to see. 'Cause that was a long time ago.
You've been around a long time. You didn't take an 8-year break like I did.
Yeah, and that means I'm getting older. And that was another thing with this year's show is the amount of people that I've seen in the hallways that I have not seen for a number of years. I ran into 3 different people today that I've not seen for over 15 years. They
Wow.
have not been, and similar stories to what you were saying is that where they stepped out of the industry for a period of time. And one particular gentleman, the last time I saw him, he had a son that was, about so, and all of a sudden they're here because his son is getting back into the biz.
Cool.
And it's like, goodness gracious, it's...
Yeah, I mean, at the beginning session, there was a beginners section
Yeah.
today, which I don't think they've ever had that before.
I don't think that's...
But there was like guys there who were in the founding days. I mean, it was almost they've said it's like a reunion. This
yeah.
year's like a reunion of a lot of other older. I mean, there's that guy sitting over there. He's probably I don't know what his name. What's his name? Michael.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to yell. Michael. I mean, he's worse.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Yeah.
It was horribly small, and we're not saying this to be mean or anything. I don't know if they knew the how popular that was going to be.
Yep.
I mean, it was at noon, and the room was filled. There were wall to wall, and I kind of poked my head in there because I was thinking, sometimes if you just start pushing people off to the sides, you can get more people in there. There was no off to the sides to be pushed.
No, they were almost sitting on my lap. I was in a chair.
And you're a friendly guy, so a couple could have sat there. But
Yeah, they could have one on each leg. I'm okay.
beyond that, there were still more than 2 people in the hallway with me when I came in there. It's like, oh, well, this is what the room looks like and the hallway. There's a lot of people there. But I think that was a great idea because when they put everyone together for the first session, and I think Bill might have been, hey, how many people were new? And I dare say there were 200, 250 people that were new.
I was going to say like a fourth or a fifth of the people there.
Yeah,
were new
there
people.
was a lot.
And I know
there.
there's a lot of people who came last year who wanted to come this year who couldn't have made it, who just didn't make it. So
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, and I know you kind of shared from your heart last night a little bit on this broadcast, and you kind of got a little fire in your belly, which is fine. I think it needs to be done. About if we as DJs don't start supporting some of these people who support events like this, there's not going to be a conference like this around, and that would be really sad.
Yeah.
Because there's so much to glean. And another thing I want to share, John, is that when I was in the industry a number of years ago, when we had, can I say the name of the organization?
Yeah, go ahead.
When we were part of the Midwest Association of Professional Disc Jockeys, and I was a founding member of that, as well, like you were, and Bill, and there was at times an atmosphere of defensiveness and competitiveness.
Yep.
And now I'm back here at this conference, and I don't see any of that. I mean, it's like everyone here is really out to help and to learn.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I sat down with Jason Jones for lunch today, and to me, and I shared earlier, that was the most valuable time I've had.
Yeah.
And I mean, it wasn't even in the conference, and I just received some really cool encouragement from him, and he helped me hone in on a particular audience that I want to go with,
Yeah.
So that, there's a lot of stuff going on. It's not like, for those DJs out there who have been part of a local chapter of something, and maybe you've run into that, we all have egos,
Yeah.
and we got, and I think someone said, I don't know if it was in this situation or in another conference, they went to another conference and they said, there was a garbage can there, check your egos here, dump it in.
Yeah, yep,
because
I've heard that,
once
yeah.
you do that, you can learn a lot more, and you're not standoffish, and it's almost like it's a brotherhood, where before it was almost like, you're the stepbrother, and we're competing for the same attention. Well,
Yeah.
and it's not like that here.
Yeah.
And so if you have been part of a situation like that, no matter where you are in the country or the world, come to Mobile Beat, and you're going to have a totally different experience. And this is my third time here. Like I said, I did about a dozen years ago, and then I did last year and this year. And and even there's a change from a dozen years ago.
Oh yeah,
at Mobile
for
Beat,
sure. I would agree.
As far as the cohesiveness of brother and sister DJs.
Yeah,
So.
I think you really definitely see that, and there's numerous reasons I think why. I think the whole concept though that people it isn't as cheap as it was at one time to come to this, and now you're going to see people who are a little more serious about their craft, because we used to be able to come down here and the passes were $79. I think I bought passes for my staff. Airfare was under $200. And hotel at that time we could pick up a room for like $40.
Yeah.
So we had less than just a hair over $500 into this show, if we didn't go crazy doing other things. Now it's a minimum of $1,000.
Right.
And airfare is
$450 for me for airfare.
Yeah.
Well, $500 actually with baggage.
Yeah,
So.
I was going to say on my airfare, because we had to bring extra bags to have all these camcorders and things down. It was $600.
Did you do first class this year?
I did. Because by the time I paid for all my bags, it was like $75 more to sit in the big seat. So yes, I did.
Oh, I wish I would have.
I did that. That was my splurge for this trip. It's that, and then I'm eating crackers for the rest of the trip because that's all.
No. And packaged rolls, sweet rolls.
Yeah, well, those are for tomorrow morning when we're gonna have people come up here and they'll eat the rolls, and that'll be great. So okay, so we get through the day. Now, you guys haven't had a chance to walk through the exhibit hall. You probably could peek in a little bit. The exhibit hall, and for those of you watching, if you come back to the YouTube channel a little bit later, the video is either fully uploaded and it's processing on YouTube, or it's in the midst of that process. I went through, it was about a 20-minute walk through the exhibit hall. And typically I shoot that for you guys about 8 o'clock at night the day before. Well, because of this, we went earlier, and we ended up having a lot of boxes in the way, but there's a couple of things over there that were kind of a surprise for me. First off, photo booths. We have a number of photo booths, but they all are pretty much the podium style this year, the open air. I didn't see anything enclosed at all.
Well, yeah, I personally just purchased a photo booth. I haven't had an opportunity to use it yet, but almost all of the newer ones are like that.
Yeah,
and it's nice. They're easier to get around. And if you have a actual booth style, it's kind of like an aluminum frame with some black curtains on it, or whatever kind of enclosure you want to do. And it's really easy to get around. I mean, I've been at weddings where, they've got two guys hefting these huge, 800-pound photo booths in piece by piece, then setting it up. I mean, a lot of technology there, and the software is amazing too. So
and I think that was a part that we were talking about, is the software's come such a long way, where it used to be kind of cumbersome to set up and such, but now, like everything else, it's become a lot easier, more intuitive on what it can do and what we can do with it. So you can do some green screen things and really create an experience. Like the one in there, which you guys will see more later in that video, is they've got it set up with the green screen. And what they're able to do is that the customers can take their picture and then they can choose their background. Do I have a picture of a rhinoceros running up from behind me, and I'm like, whatever. You can do all sorts of cool things with it. So it gives you more flexibility when it comes to your events. And you've got teen events where kids can go and pick something weird, that they're sitting there, and here comes Darth Vader walking down the hall. And, there's just so many things that can be done with it. So really, it's progressed. In the room this year, which is kind of neat, is we've got Pioneer. I haven't seen.
No, Pioneer wasn't there last year.
Yeah, they weren't there. They had a small thing at the fall show, but they've got a really nice sized booth this year. You've got Pioneer that has a nice sized booth. Denon and Newmark are here with the in-music company. So you've got Mark Lighting, you've got American ADJ in the back that has got a nice big booth. Chauvet's got a nice booth up front. There's a couple of other companies that we've seen at DJ Expo and such, but really just a really nice variety. Bose has got a really nice sized booth this year. So you're going to be able to, for those who are here, you're going to be able to see the new the F1 series lights. Lights, speakers.
Speakers, yeah.
Mario just turned a light on in the back, so that's what threw me off. It's like, lights.
I'm cute.
Yeah, I'm cute. Just enough to mess me up on that. So, but yeah, it's going to be, the exhibit hall, I think, is going to have a nice variety. There's a couple of manufacturers or companies that have been here many a times that aren't here this year. And this is for those of you who watched last night's video, and if you haven't, pop in, check that out. That's pre-show. Just search for pre-show and you'll find it. I think we're going to start to see that. You're going to have companies that just can't justify, because this is for them to fly staff out, and then you've got your hotel, and you've got the booth, and you've got all these different little nuances that it becomes a $5,000 to $10,000 investment really quick. And that means that if they are,
I think the minimum booth space is like $10,000.
I don't even know for sure.
I accidentally hit the page on Mobile Beat, and it's like they start at $10,000.
Yeah.
But you know what? Mobile Beat has tremendous overhead as well.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly. Yeah. These shows are not cheap to produce. We've looked at these types of shows and talked about those in the past, and it's not uncommon for a show like this to have a price tag of $100,000, and that's before paying for speakers. This space and a rental and.
So I was lucky enough when I was here last year, where and I don't know what they're going to do this year about it, but before we left last year, we had the opportunity to buy tickets for $99 a person.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
that was a steal. And that's when I bought mine.
Yeah, when Brian Dodge was up on stage there, and he's like, "No, go buy!" And people were like so fired up after that. If there would have been like a wall, solid wall, and he'd be like, "No, go run through that wall," they would have. Because that was a fired up room last year. He did a fabulous job. And I think let's see who's in that anchor spot this year. So Todd Mitchum's in that, and Todd Mitchum's 1 to 2 o'clock seminar may not have people excited in that way, quite like Brian Dodge did. He's a motivator, but Mitchum's more of an entertainer in that side of it. So I think it'll be a different end.
I might pull it off.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. I'm definitely looking forward to it. Yeah, you guys they're listening to our background music there in the chat. It feels so good. Yeah,
well, you guys can hear better than I can.
Yeah, exactly. We're busy talking. We're paying attention to what we're saying. So tomorrow morning, for those of you who are out there and you're going to catch the live stream, we're actually going to be delaying the live stream a little bit. We're going to be pushing it back closer to 8 o'clock. This is Pacific time. The reason for that is that we have an internet stream up here. We can't get an internet stream down there. So we're going to be moving everything up into the suite. So we've got to get Ron Ruth. I think Ron Ruth's tomorrow, and then Arnaldo's coming on Wednesday. So we're going to be talking weddings up here. That way we can also have rolls. We've got orange juice and coffee and everything for those of you on site, so you guys can come in and enjoy breakfast with us, and then get yourself back down there, because I think at 9 o'clock tomorrow
it starts.
The start at 9 o'clock with Justin Miller starts at 9 o'clock. Yeah, the first session. So
now for Arnaldo, are you going to get some sort of a screen on the mic here?
we're going to make sure that he hasn't had any sugar or he's not caffeinated, so that way he won't be all wound up by the time he gets here.
Oh, man.
We're talking school dances. We're not talking about schools that are bad. So he shouldn't be. It's early in the day. He'll be good through that. So. Well, that's about it. I just want to give you guys a little bit of a heads up on what was going on. We're going to try to go down and get a couple of pictures from the DJ takeover downstairs, because that's going on yet tonight. And then we'll be back tomorrow morning at approximately 8 o'clock West Coast time, Pacific time, and we'll see you guys then. So once again, thank you for watching. If you have any questions or anything about the show, please put that in the comment section down below, and I'll try to find that information out for you tomorrow, and we'll talk about it tomorrow night. We should be back here about 7 o'clock Pacific, which would be 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock East Coast, and we'll talk about how Day 2 went here at Mobile Beat Las Vegas 2016.
And if you're here, come on up for tamales.
Yeah, if you're here tomorrow, you'll be able to catch that. So, once again, ladies and gentlemen, we are here in Las Vegas. This is John Young with the Disc Jockey News. Scott, thank you for being on with me.
Thanks,
I appreciate it. That was great stuff.
I'm glad I could sit.
Yeah, we'll catch you guys tomorrow.